Okay, yes, hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alan, this is My Life in Taiwan, and welcome to Taichung's National Immigration Agency building, where I've come for a very special event. This that I have in my hands is my APRC that I got almost 3 years to the date, 3 years and 2 days ago in 2018. But there's something very important about this APRC number. The number identifies me as a foreigner. We'll get into a little bit more details about what that means later, but basically I'm here at the National Immigration Agency to change my APRC into a Taiwanese national ID number. Lots to talk about, lots of different feelings that it brings up for me, but first thing we need to do, take my passport and my old APRC into the building, fill out some forms, and we'll be back in a second. 我要换我的 APRC 的号码。
分享在你的 passport 跟 ARC 吗？
有。如果我要换这个中文名字可以吗？我要换到帅伦。
你已经很帅了。
不能再帅了。
我们不用费用，然后3月30号可以拿，麻烦收据跟旧的卡片要带回来。
好，没错，非常好，好，谢谢，拜拜。Okay, so filled out the form, completed all of the necessary information, but not able to get my new ID and the new number for another 7 days. So a bit of a wait for me, but luckily for you guys, we can come back in the blink of an eye. Yes, 7 days have passed and I've just picked up my glistening new APRC, complete with new ID number that may have changed a little bit closer to that of a local Taiwanese ID, but still identifies me as a foreigner and doesn't match the exact system used by Taiwanese locals. So let's go get a coffee, talk about how that makes me feel. 谢谢。Right, so coffee acquired and seat taken here in my local park. But before we discuss my feelings about my new ID number, let's learn a little bit about Taiwanese ID numbers and how they work. For Taiwanese locals, your ID number begins with a single English letter A to Z corresponding to the city in which you were born, and then the following digit is a number 1 or 2 depending on gender, 1 for men, 2 for women. Don't ask me why they give men number 1 and women number 2. This is not a gender debate, but following the 1 or the 2 there's then an 8-digit number which follows a very complicated algorithm, believe it or not, that actually proves the number's legitimacy. Now, as foreigners, our ID numbers have always been a little bit different. Instead of the single letter at the start, there's always been 2 English letters, which immediately identifies that ID number and the person holding it as a foreigner. And this has actually given us real-world problems when it comes to making online bookings for train tickets or cinemas or anything that requires your ID number, and the system only accepts one single A to Z letter and rejects our weird 2-letter ID numbers. Therefore, this year the government have decided to try and solve this problem by issuing new-coming foreigners with the 1-letter ID number system, and anyone such as myself that has the old 2-letter ID number system can go to the immigration agency and change their number for a new one, as I have done today. But, and here's the big but, my new ID number still doesn't follow the Taiwanese local ID number system and immediately identifies me as a foreigner to anybody that sees it. My new number does have only 1 English letter at the start, and that's a B, representing Taichung City, the place where I'm registered, as opposed to my old ID number, which followed the old system with 2 letters, which incidentally and quite interestingly was LC. And the L actually represents Taichung County, which has now become defunct. There's no such thing as Taichung County anymore. So ever since 2010, anybody born in the original Taichung County, which is now Taichung City, will be given a letter B as opposed to a letter L. So I've kind of lost something a little bit special that will never be repeated again. But anyway, yes, I'm super happy to be a part of the 1-letter ID number gang. Yes, that's true. but the second digit in my ID number is an 8, not a 1 that all Taiwanese men will receive. And if I were female, it would actually be a 9, representing a foreigner female, not a 2 that all Taiwanese women are given. So the whole point of this video was for me to change my old foreigner style ID number into a Taiwanese local ID number and just allow me to feel a little bit more belonging, a little bit more closer to this country that I love so much. And I failed. My ID number still quite clearly is that of a foreigner. The second digit being an 8 immediately identifies me as a male foreigner. And to be honest, it kind of sucks. Now, a lot of you will probably say, what's the big deal? This doesn't really matter that much. And there are bigger problems in the world, which of course I agree with you. But if you know me at all from this channel, you'll know that I hold this country very close to my heart, and belonging and feeling that sense of togetherness with the Taiwanese people is incredibly important to me. And I want to do anything I can that's possible in order to feel closer to the country. So for the government to have changed the ID numbering system, but still use numbers that identify me as a foreigner is a kind of, what do we say, like a little bit of a kick in the face, so to speak. Of course, I appreciate the government acknowledge the problem and change the system somewhat, but if they're not going to make it exactly the same system that they use for the locals, then why bother changing it at all? I know that if a Taiwanese person goes to the UK and spends 5 years there and is given permanent residence, then after a year of permanent residence, you can apply for a British passport without having to relinquish your Taiwanese passport. But if I want to do that here and apply for a Taiwanese passport, then I have to actually relinquish my British passport and give up all rights to citizenship back in the UK. And I know that that's probably another video topic that I can probably get into another time. And to be fair, I probably haven't done enough for this country to warrant being given a passport anyway, so I'm kind of okay with that, to be honest. But I guess the best thing I can do is put this question to you guys, especially any Taiwanese people that are living overseas, whether in America, Australia, or the UK. What kind of citizenship or permanent residence does that country give you as Taiwanese people? How long do you have to live there? If you have permanent residence or citizenship in another country, do you feel belonging to there? If you don't, do you wish that you did? Whatever you've got to say on this topic, I'd really appreciate getting your input in the comment section down below. And as always, we can have a bit of a chat about it. Alternatively, if you think I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, a storm in a teacup, and other such idioms, then again, your comments are welcome down below. But I think that's enough on this topic for today. I don't want to just come here and complain for 10 minutes when I don't have to. So a little bit of a shorter video today, as I do have 2 absolutely huge video projects in the pipeline coming very soon. So if you want to make sure you don't miss those videos, then please ensure that you're subscribed to the channel, you ring the little bell, and you'll get a notification when I publish those videos in future. For anybody that watched my previous video taking Rocco to have his vaccination, I just want to give you an update on his side effects. He suffered pretty badly for 24 hours, but the next day he sent me a message telling me he felt right as rain, and he also wanted to make it very clear that he really appreciates Taiwan looking after him and giving him the vaccine, and he's very looking forward to getting his second dose and traveling for his work in the near future. He really recommends everybody to get the vaccine, look after yourselves, protect yourself and those around you. But yes, Rocco is doing fantastically. As always, if you want to get a glimpse of my daily life here in Taiwan, then please feel free to go and follow me on Instagram and Facebook, where I post some daily photos, just things that I get up to outside of YouTube. But I think that's it for this video. Nice quick one today. I'm not going to take too much of your time. Time to say goodbye. So as for now, and as always, see you next time in My Life in Taiwan. Peace. Bye-bye.